That he gets it. He wants big games on big stages. He puts this thing together late summer with Scott Drew. Arkansas's defense is what has carried them so far in 2 exhibition games in the home opener. This is an Arkansas team that has a ton of talent. Their strength is their guard play. Baylor defensively could not stay in front of the ball against Gonzaga. It will be tested again in this game tonight.
Well, you'd think Baylor would be the home team, but they're going through a little woo pig suey here at American Airlines Center, and there's a lot of Arkansas fans here in the house. This is going to be a great atmosphere tonight.
Great fan base here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for Arkansas, and Baylor about, what, 90 miles away. It's kind of split right down the middle. A big-time feel and a big-time night for college basketball. Houston and Auburn follow us, settle in for 4 phenomenal hours ahead of us in college basketball.
It is Baylor coming out wearing the yellow and Arkansas wearing the red. We are getting set to tip it up here in Dallas. And it is Arkansas winning the opening tip. And their freshman sensation, Boogie Flan, will bring it up.
Boogie Flan competes on both ends. This kid with the ball is all of 6'3", the number 2 ranked point guard in the 2024 class. He is the real deal.
Hero, one of the most athletic big men in the SEC, as John L. Davis's first shot is an air ball. 4 impact transfers on this Baylor team this season, and Omier is one of them. Norchad Omier, the Miami transfer, the first bucket.
Now, he is a bull with the ball, and one of the better bully drivers in the Big 12 this year, Norchad Omier.
Perimeter passing early on for Arkansas, trying to carve up this defense. 5 seconds on the shot clock, second offensive possession for the Razorbacks. Davis has to get one up, back rim, and off the mark.
Okay, so back-to-back opening defensive possessions by Baylor, and they go zone. They only showed 6 zone possessions of defense against Gonzaga in a 72-possession game. That tells me Scott Drew right now doesn't trust that switching man-to-man that he played at Gonzaga.
Ivisic, 7'2", and his shot off the mark. Baylor looking to avoid going to 0-2 to start a season for the first time since the 05-06 season. And Scott Drew is not messing around. 2 monster teams to start this season in Gonzaga, now here in Arkansas. As the backdoor cut, VJ Edgecombe lays it in.
Edgecombe can do a little bit of everything. He's not a great shooter, but he's wired to score. An extremely good, long, fast cutter. Talking about 7 in yellow.
All right, Jimmy, it is nothing but zone defense for this Baylor Bears teams. Why do you think Baylor's starting out with just zone here tonight?
It's a curveball to Arkansas. Arkansas' strength is driving the ball. They're not a hot 3-point shooting team early in the year. I like the move early by Baylor. Not sure they won't stick with it for a while.
There is Boogie Flan. His runner goes. First basket for Arkansas.
It's an amoeba zone that Scott Drew has used. He'll do it out of a tandem guard up top, a 1-3-1. They match up to where the offense aligns. And in an NBA Pro arena, not a bad idea to go zone against an Arkansas team that has not shot the ball well.
Nice run and layup by the VCU transfer, Jaden Nunn.
And now it's Arkansas struggling to stay in front of the ball to start this game.
We were in shoot-around today. John Calipari was telling his team, be ready for this Baylor defense that's going to switch 1 through 5. But they've come out with something completely different to start this game.
That's all. Basically, again, only 6 possessions of this zone against Gonzaga. So Cal prepared for what the film showed him. And Scott Drew's won a ton of games. And John, sometimes you go to the defense that allows you to win a big game early in the season. That switching man-to-man, though, will be a big part of Baylor, I think, all season long. He's just probably not ready for a game like this yet.
Hustle basket there by John L. Davis, the FAU transfer. There's the pick and roll, hand on, and Arkansas has the steal. They're looking to push it 2-on-1. Boogie Flan. And then the cleanup bucket by Adu Thero, the Kentucky transfer.
I think you have to test Baylor's will on their transition defense. It was non-existent at Gonzaga. If you're Arkansas, run every opportunity you have in this building.
lot of storylines early on for Baylor Bears as the Duke transfer Jeremy Roach deciding to transfer over to Baylor because he wants to be a full-time point guard. It's going to be interesting to see how he runs the show. Nunn with the shot clock winding down at 3, knifing through, missing the lay-in, gets his own miss, back up and puts it in.
This hustle effort play right there by Nunn to miss one and stay after it. This Baylor zone, John, is very good at protecting the nail. You'll see those 2 guards up top really rotate to that area, keeping that ball on the perimeter.
Inside of Visic, and he has hacked a good dish by John L. Davis. A good start here in Dallas as the Baylor Bears with a 2-point lead over Arkansas. Welcome back to Dallas alongside Jimmy Dykes. I'm John Schriff, and we look into the Arkansas huddle, and they have to make an adjustment. Jimmy, they were throwing a curveball facing the zone early on.
Well, and I thought they handled it well on the fly, so now this is the first time out that Cal can talk to his guys and get them organized. A couple of things that I'm sure he told his guys. Don't settle for jump shots early. Drive these dudes was the message this morning at shoot-around, man or zone. Test their ability to stay in front of the ball no matter what defense they throw at us. But think about this for Baylor. Arkansas has shot 25%, John, from the three-point line in the 3 games that they've played so far this year. That's an alarming number that says we can play zone against them. Now, if Scott Drew is going to change it up, I would expect it to be on this next defensive possession coming out of this timeout. Does he go to switching man-to-man? If he doesn't go man-to-man here, we might see this zone the entire game.
All 6 points so far have been second chance points for Arkansas as Vonnevar Visic, the 7'2" sophomore, goes to the free throw line and will shoot 2.
Very skilled kid that kind of puts separation between Arkansas and Lipscomb on Wednesday night.
Visic, one of the many Kentucky transfers who came to Arkansas with Coach Calipari, was not eligible in the first 2 months of the season last year. But he made the transfer. He spent all summer in the weight room, and they feel like he has a better foundation starting this year than he did at Kentucky.
He's got to be an inside presence. He's all of 7'2". Very skilled guy, but this is not a huge Arkansas team with a lot of depth on that front line. He's got to hold his own around that rim on both ends.
There's the freshman point guard Robert Wright in the game for the first time. He is the backup point guard for Baylor. He has been a huge surprise as he's on the floor with Roach at the same time. And there is Wright drawing the whistle. He is a guy who Scott Drew said he does not look like a freshman early in the season.
He is not afraid. This kid's a gamer. I mean, in his first collegiate game on a big-time atmosphere, 12 points, 6 assists at Gonzaga, and I believe only 1 turnover. One of the better guards in that 2024 class, taking it out of bounds right now.
This is an offense that will show 4 guards for much of this game. There is Nunn from deep, and he nails the 3.
That's what he can do, Jane Nunn. Over 100 career starts, 43% three-point shooter last year, made 53s for Baylor. And there's our answer. Scott Drew's going to play this zone until he can't play it anymore.
That one rings out for John L. Davis, and here's Roach, the Duke transfer, trying to push the pace. In transition, that was Theo coming over with the help. Boogie Flan the other way, and Roach, they're going to say, caught him on the arm going up. As Flan will get to the free throw line.
Yeah, Adu Fierro, big-time athlete, 6'7" forward, went vertical with the erase. And Nunn right there just shoots over the outstretched arms of Big Z. That's what I'm talking about. Fierro rotates over with 2 hands up top with a verticality play. Well done. So Arkansas defense has not allowed a team to get to 70 so far this year. That has been their strength so far early in the season.
First free throw is good for the freshman Boogie Fland out of the Bronx, New York. A McDonald's All-American. And Jimmy, this is a kid who just turned 18 years old. He should technically still be in high school.
No doubt. Think about that. But he was the #2 ranked point guard in our ESPN class behind Dylan Harper at Rutgers. Harper about 3 inches taller at 6'6". It is a loaded, fantastic freshman class this year.
Whoa, could not get that one over Theo. And here comes DJ Wagner the other way for Arkansas.
Back-to-back big-time rim protections by Fierro.
Throws that one away. And it's going to be a turnover. Baylor ball.
And watch Adu Fierro Just a quick elevation. And there's Thiero. I called him Thiero the last couple of years in Kentucky because that's what his name was. But then he gets to Arkansas, and they ask him how do you pronounce it properly. He says it's actually Thiero. So I may throw some Thieros in there a few times tonight. That's okay. I'm from Arkansas with a little bit of an accent, but is now technically Thiero.
When you want to know, just go to the source. Omier trying to work inside, and it rolls off the rim.
Such a good play, though, to just isolate basketball man off that out-of-bounds under.
Thiero off the pass. This is an Arkansas team that shot 21% from deep in their first game against Lipscomb on Wednesday. Right in the paint. Look at the havoc this freshman creates.
He is special. Now, the strength for Baylor early is the speed of the four guards, and Wright might be the fastest one. Fearless, unafraid as a true freshman. The inside-out move gets him going down the left side. And a really good job at taking the hit, but getting his shoulder squared right there. See how he gets those shoulders squared, John, even after the contact? Man, the kid is wired to score. Tough.
Scott Drew, shoot-around, said this is a kid who shows up in practice, but when it's game time, he takes it to a whole nother level.
No doubt. Pennsylvania Gatorade Player of the Year.
Arkansas easily break it. Oh, my. Thiero comes down hard as he is fouled by Norchad Omier.
Now,
we talked about his athleticism. He can get up.
If Baylor presses Arkansas, Arkansas has to have the mentality of we're going to score 100 on you. Attack, attack, and attack again. And Thiero is tremendous at the back end of the press for those reasons right there. His elevation, his strength to go through contact, a big-time weapon on the back end of your press breaker.
For an Arkansas team that got surprised early on with this zone defense, how do you think Coach Cal and the Razorbacks have adjusted here early on?
Yeah, I think they've settled in. They've got to get that ball reversed a couple of times and then attack on the catch. I'm still not convinced Baylor can stay in front of the ball if Arkansas can get them in closeouts. And you can get it in man or zone, but the ball's got to get moved side to side.
Wright playing the backup right now, but he may not be the backup in the second half of the season the way he's been playing.
He may not be the backup next week.
Look at Flan. Moving his feet, staying in front of Wright, has to get rid of it. Anytime on the shot clock, inside, and Omier lays it in.
How about the shot fake, though, by Edgecombe, and the long, fast first step to get him in the paint, and a tremendous dump off.
Arkansas is 0 for 4 from downtown to start this game. So Baylor will stay in this zone.
The ball's got to get below the free throw line extended. Good things will happen.
Thiero off the mark, now 0 for 5 from deep.
The zone's also allowing Baylor to rebound pretty well out of it so far.
And Thiero a little too aggressive on the bump.
John, here's what I'm talking about with Edgecombe. Not a great shooter, but he understands how to score. That first big step right there, that left stride is a separator. It's a long stride. It's a fast stride. He's got vision to make the right play with the ball in traffic.
Norchad Omier, the Miami transfer, is the NCAA active leader in career rebounds per game, and double-doubles. Scott Drew just seems to be able to find talent, whether it be freshmen or transfers. He reloads every single season, and he needed to, losing 4 of 5 starters from last year's team.
And because of that, we can't truthfully judge Baylor until probably the middle of December.
Kevin Brazil snatched down that rebound. Arkansas, no field goals in almost 4 minutes of game time on the floor. John L. Davis with some space. The cold shooting from outside continues to start this game for Arkansas. Omier showing the strength, gets his own miss.
Wow.
And he is just too tough inside.
He just wears you out with effort. You talk about a guy with a big Valentine. There's not one in college basketball that plays with one bigger than 15 in gold.
And here comes this Baylor crowd here in Dallas.
John, I see no sign of Baylor doing anything but staying in that zone so far.
Right on the kick out, Edgecombe. And as Boogie Flan says, get off me.
You know they want to run. They want to test that Baylor transition defense.
Foul called on Baylor as the Bears have opened up a 7-point lead here early on.
North Chad O'Meara in high school played baseball, soccer, he swam, a track athlete, volleyball, basketball, and handball. Big time athlete, big time motor. Well done, 15, well done. Making the greatest impact so far, North Chad O'Meara tonight. 6 points, 5 rebounds already. He just bully drives people, a phenomenal athlete. The first scholarship Division I college basketball player from Nicaragua. And he told me earlier today, in baseball, he was a pitcher, had a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and he also was a 100-meter runner, John. And he, in the country of Nicaragua at one point, he was for his age group, the record holder in the 100-meter dash. You're talking about an explosive, big-time athlete at 6'7", 240. Would have been a phenomenal football player if they had it, but you just watch guys compete in college basketball. No one competes harder than North Chad O'Meara from Baylor.
When you start talking baseball, you're now talking my language here, Jimmy. Good start here for Scott Drew, 3-time Big 12 Coach of the Year. The only 2 active coaches in college basketball with an NCAA championship and an NIT championship are coaching on the floor here tonight.
Yeah, one of 6 active coaches to win the NCAA title. I was kind of surprised the number is that low. That's how hard it is to do.
Off the bench, as Carter Knox missing from deep.
That 3-point shooting for Arkansas continues to struggle. Now 0 for 8 in this game.
Roach is bumped, and they will call the foul on Arkansas's Knox.
So the game plan by Scott Drew is what gives me the best chance to win this game. And so far, that zone has been awfully effective at choking off the water of Arkansas in terms of getting in the paint and their inability to make threes.
How about our conversation today here we had with Jeremy Roach? Just an outstanding young man, played 4 years at Duke, and he talked very highly. He said, I didn't want to leave Duke, but I didn't really get the opportunity to play a point guard. And he said, now coming to Baylor, I get my chance to show what I can do and facilitate for my team.
Yeah, he said that he played it all throughout high school, especially in that high-level AAU basketball. But if he has any chance to play professional basketball at his size, he's got to be a full-time point guard. He's going to have to learn on the fly. He's a combination guard. Baylor's got 3 or 4 guys that can handle it and bring the ball up, get you into your offense. But Jeremy Roach is trying to improve in that aspect of his game this year, and he loves the free-flowing, aggressive style that Scott Drew lets his guards play with.
Arkansas scoreless in over 2.5 minutes. Where are they going to find this offense against the Baylor zone?
John, if you can't shoot, the game gets hard, really hard.
Nice pump fake. And Firo going by his man.
Such a weapon in the short corner against the zone. Good job by Arkansas. Making a play behind the back line of that zone defense.
So essentially 2 point guards on the floor now for Baylor. As a corner 3. And Celestine, the Cal transfer, missing everything. Knox, skip pass. Roach, and an offensive foul. And a charge called against Wagner.
That's a veteran old guard, Jeremy Roach. Moving his feet. As soon as the contact comes, he pushes off with those heels. Wagner on the catch of the drive, and that defender, though, he's got to be in legal guarding position and get in front of the basketball. I'm not so sure that was not the right call.
Roach trying to get downhill quickly. Look at him getting all the way to the rim.
I'm telling you, the speed of Baylor guard play just jumps off. It did not jump off in the game film at Gonzaga, but it has jumped off in this arena tonight.
Jimmy, Arkansas is 0 for 9 from 3-point range to start this game. Ojonwina has to get it out, and there's a steal by Arkansas. Wagner has numbers, 3-on-2, and he takes it himself in the lane.
Arkansas has to score every time they have a chance to run in this game. The zone has bothered them a lot. They're going to have to manufacture points, John, off transition, get to the free throw line, offensive rebound. Dirty points will be huge for Arkansas.
And away from the ball, they're going to call a foul on Knox, holding his man.
Jeremy Roche has got a burst about him. And coming downhill at Big Z, that's a problem. Wagner as well in the open floor. Big, powerful guards can get in the paint.
Our officials tonight, Doug Sermons, Tony Padilla, and Byron Jarrett. We haven't talked about the officials, which means they're doing a fantastic job tonight. Roach in and out. Trying to set up the offense. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Nunn. Crowd wanted a carry, nothing called, and he cans the jumper.
That is a big-time shot by Nunn. To not feel the shot clock pressure. The rise and the release was true.
Baylor got blown out their first game of the season. But this is a different Bears team we are seeing here tonight in Dallas.
Watch Nunn right here. The shot clock ticking down, and DJ Wagner doesn't take up his airspace. Late clock, you got to take away vision. Now, we knew Baylor was better than the 38-point whooping that they took at Gonzaga. Now, Gonzaga, legit national title contender, but they're old, more together, more experienced early in the season than Baylor is.
Shot clock at 5 as Nunn sets up the offense. Good hand by Thero. And tipped out of bounds. It's going to be Arkansas basketball.
Again, we talked about Arkansas. They cannot settle against the zone. They got to move the ball, continue to attack, test that Baylor defense off the bounce.
Billy Richmond III has now checked into the game. High post to Vicic, has it poked away from behind. Getting downhill, Edgecombe throws it up top, and Ojonwina with the oop.
Lack of awareness and lack of strength by Big Z. Inside the zone, you know the small guards are going to come into play. There's none with that back dribble, the rhythm dribble. Bam, a big-time shot. And off of the defense, Arkansas gets stripped. Baylor hot early in Dallas.
Welcome back to the Lone Star Classic here on ESPN. It's the Baylor Bears with an early 26-15 lead alongside Jimmy Dykes. I'm John Strippen. All right, Jimmy, I know you like this Houston Cougars team coming up next. What is it about the Cougars and Kelvin Sampson's team?
Yeah, you're going to hear people describe them as great culture and tough and all that. No. That Houston Cougar defense is this. Vicious, violent, shocking, savage, hostile, harsh, jarring, and confrontational. That's how they play on the defensive end, and Auburn's got to be ready for that, especially on ball screen coverage. It's jarring, it's confrontational. It's a whole nother level. Big-time game coming up. When you look at the Ken Palm standing right now, that's the number 1 and 2 team in the country coming up after us, Houston and Auburn.
You travel with that thesaurus?
I just like trying to think, like, how would I really describe Houston's defense? It's way beyond tough. It's way beyond words that we normally use.
Thero inside. He's been the most effective offensive weapon so far for Arkansas.
Got inside that zone, stayed patient, played off at 2 feet. Well done by Thero.
He's got 7 points to lead the way for the Razorbacks. And a 9-point lead for Baylor here. 7 minutes to play in this first half. Edgecombe thought about it. Now they'll hoist it. And they left that one short. Up ahead of the pack, Billy Richmond to third.
John, that's it. Arkansas's got to keep the game confident with the muddy parts of the game. Run off of their defensive stops every single time.
The Arkansas crowd trying to get the Razorbacks in this game. Roach jump stop and the soft touch, it falls.
Yeah, really good job by Roach to come off that ball screen with a purpose. Got his feet underneath him, didn't shoot an unbalanced runner. And you got to get that ball inside the zone.
Thiero, and there is the first three of the game for Arkansas, as Thiero now in double figures with 10.
You got to take open looks. 1 out of 10 is Arkansas from the three-point line, and all of a sudden, because running off their defensive stop, the game feels a lot different in this arena.
We're setting the screen. They missed him on the wall. Now they find him on the block. One-on-one against Brazil, the taller man. And a kick ball called against Arkansas as Edgecombe, he came down on the deck hard.
Arkansas, they get that defensive board. And Richmond, a powerful athlete in that freshman class. Arkansas is very good in transition. There's Thiero, not known for his three-point shot, but you got to take the open looks against Baylor, shoot it with confidence. And Arkansas has found something the last couple of minutes going up against that Baylor zone.
Well, Jimmy Edgecombe just got himself off the floor. He said he's all right, but we're going to have to keep an eye on him because he came down hard.
He is from Bimini, Bahamas. I've never been to Bimini until this summer. We went there on a cruise for one day. One of the most beautiful places in the world is Bimini, Bahamas. And he and I had a great conversation, about 5 or 6 minutes, exactly where he lives and his favorite foods. And go to Bimini if you've never been.
Here is Edgecombe as they get it around the perimeter. Right with a pick and roll with O'Meara. And the runner, Robert Wright, he has got so many moves for a freshman.
I just don't think you can switch off a guard that good and just give drop coverage. That mid-range game is very confident for number 1 in goal.
Five minutes to play here in this first half that has been dominated by Baylor, thanks in part defensively to their zone defense that Arkansas was not expecting tonight. Thiero in the paint, off the mark, and a rebound is Celestine. Right. Wow. Just a little hesitation, got by his man. You see the quickness.
High IQ, keeping that ball in the middle third in transition. He's already shown he's got a burst going either direction. I go back to this basket by Wright. Right there, there's the switch. Now watch the drop by Thiero. Almost like waiting for Flan to get back in front of him, but you can't do that to a good guard. Those guys are wired to score, and his ability, this kid right here, to go right or left and finish with right or left is really elite at the next level.
Here's tomorrow's women's college basketball lineup at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. We got Gonzaga and Stanford squaring off at Maples Pavilion on ESPN2. Then on ESPN, the number 9 North Carolina State takes on number 1 South Carolina in the first game of the Ally tip-off in Charlotte, with the second game between Virginia Tech and Iowa at ESPN2. All 3 games are available on the ESPN app.
South Carolina 38-0 last year. We know that they will be tested this year, though. UConn with Paige Beckers, if she decides to start shooting the ball like Gino's begging her to do more, is a real threat. Juju Watkins at Southern Cal. I love Madison Booker down at Texas. UConn is going to be tested more this year than last year, and Don Staley knows it.
Things start to get a little physical here in Dallas as Edgecombe, he came in hard as he is fouled, as we take a look at some of these stars across the women's game as they will look to build off of the massive momentum they got from last year's season.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, who's the next Caitlin Clark? Juju Watkins on the right for Southern Cal has got a lot of game about her, a lot of personality. I mentioned Paige Beckers. She's an interesting kid. She's deferring too much right now for UConn. She has to take the game over and look to score more. And if they're going to be who they think they can be this year, that part of her game has to step up. Love Book down at Texas. Physical point guard up top. Got him deep in the tournament last year as a freshman. I'll be involved with a top 25 matchup next week. Creighton at Kansas State. Both teams picked high in their league. The women's side.
Jimmy Dykes is dialed in on the men's and the women's side again. As Edgecombe knocks down both. He is the preseason Big 12 Freshman of the Year. As he will check out. Point lead for Baylor. Wagner gets inside the kick out. Richmond off of 2 feet. And looks like he got poked in the face, and we'll get to the free throw line.
John, the ball has got to get inside that zone. Arkansas not flashing anyone to where the logo normally is, right below the free throw line. John Calipari now on the fly. Bunch of new guys on the fly. We've got to get our zone offense.
John Calipari, University of Arkansas. University of Arkansas.
The rolls off your tongue, doesn't it?
It still seems surreal, does it not, to see that Razorback on his sweater instead of that UK logo. But think about John Calipari in this state, the connection that he's had. He's come to Texas and gotten Julius Randle, Tyrese Maxey, Cason Wallace, De'Aaron Fox, Jared Vanderbilt, Andrew and Aaron Harrison. And he understands that's the importance of Arkansas having a presence in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. One of the reasons why he put this game together. And boy, he's had great success, and don't think that he won't be all over this state the next several years, trying to drag guys from Texas to Fayetteville now instead of Texas to Lexington.
When Coach Cal told us the importance of this game here tonight, he said he wanted to get a game here in Dallas, get a footprint here in Texas. And he reached out to a bunch of schools, but Baylor was the only one who agreed to it. So this is part of a home-and-home series. They play here in Dallas this year. Baylor will come to Fayetteville next season in Arkansas. And that's a credit to both of these programs agreeing to play a game at this level this early in the season.
No doubt. You know, the Baylor zone has slowed down these Arkansas guards. Think about it. You and I were there for the Kansas-Arkansas exhibition game. Afterwards, Bill Self said, we won't face 3 better guards all year long than what Arkansas has. The Baylor zone has kind of taken that punch away from Arkansas in this game so far.
But this is where Arkansas excels in transition, using their athleticism as DJ Wagner goes coast to coast.
I'm telling you, every time you grab the ball off the defensive glass if you're Arkansas, you test Baylor's transition defense. It has not shown up so far this year.
Jeremy Roach will call a timeout. Oh, as Richmond throws the ball back, and we will have a double technical. Jimmy, I said it, things felt like they were starting to escalate, as you can tell how much this game means. As Jeremy Roach and Billy Richmond III have just been assessed double techs. So Roach calls timeout, felt the swat from Richmond, tosses in the ball, and Richmond gives it right back. And that's where we get the double techs. Here are our featured men's college basketball matchups for tomorrow. We got Michigan and Wake Forest squaring off in the inaugural Deacon Wolverine Challenge at 1 Eastern on ESPN2. And at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific on ESPN. Number 6 Gonzaga taking on Arizona State Sun Devils, both available on the ESPN app, so you can watch it anywhere.
Actually,
you just got the explanation.
Well, because when I first watched a replay, I said, okay, what really went down there? So not only does Doug Sermons tee both guys up for tossing the ball at each other, there's also a lot of John going on. So it's just accumulation of stuff. Both guys get stuck with a technical offsetting, and the Baylor ball. The point
Veteran
at the point
officiating crew.
Yeah.
trying to get control of this game. With 3:31 to play in this first half.
This game is going to have a long life shelf, whoever wins. Baylor's going to finish in the top 4 or 5 in the Big 12. Arkansas's got a chance to do that in the SEC.
And a foul called against Baylor's Robert Wright as Boogie Fland got his hand in there.
Now, Boogie Fland competes his tail off on both ends of the floor. And Wright gets called for the push. Those loose ball fouls will still be called. And this game has changed in the last 2.5, 3 minutes. The fight back for Arkansas has been very impressive.
When we had that exhibition game against Kansas, Boogie Fland did whatever he wanted offensively. But I thought what was most impressive about him was his defensive intensity, always getting his hand in the passing lane.
Watch all 3 game films from Arkansas this year against Kansas, TCU, and Lipscomb. This dude competes on both ends. And a lot of those high-profile high school freshman guards come in. They compete on the offensive end. They catch their breath on the defensive end. Not this guy. He's been at too high of a level with USA basketball. He knows how to compete.
There's a trap, and Brazil has the steal for Arkansas. Boogie Fland pulling from the boogie down Bronx.
To my point about Boogie Fland, not a great shooter, but competitive guys make big-time shots. And now it's a 2-point game.
It is getting physical inside as a foul called against Arkansas. A 9-0 run right now for the Razorbacks.
Arkansas caught a break. I thought Trevin Brazil actually got fouled on the steal right here, right on the reach in, right there. It doesn't get called, but Boogie Fland does a good job of separating behind that 3-point line, catches it in rhythm so he can just one bounce of the ball. And man, a momentum shot for Arkansas worth 3 points. Feels like it's worth 4 or 5.
What shifted in this game that's allowed Arkansas to get back in this one?
I think Arkansas, their aggressive push in transition, their full court press has caused Baylor a little bit of effort, and just honestly, just their fight back has risen up. There's nothing in this game is going to be finesse. You're going to have to be comfortable with playing with some mud in your blood if you're Baylor or Arkansas in this one.
So Wright, the freshman, checks out as Jeremy Roach comes back in to run the point. As Baylor's lead back to 4 with just over 3 minutes here in this first half.
Still all zone by Baylor. It's called an amoeba zone. They'll stack their guards up top. Sometimes they'll be out of a 1-3-1. They do a good job of protecting the nail, and so far, a pretty good job of keeping it out of the paint.
There's the steal by Roach, and coming the other way is Nunn. Nunn with a hesitation, and it pinned! Richmond the third coming out of nowhere. Wagner up top. And Adu just couldn't finish the other end of the alley-oop, the Tennessee transfer.
Arkansas has been spectacular with their rim defense in transition defense. Multiple guys. This time it's Richmond to rotate over, bam, and just eat it up top. Arkansas can't convert going the other way, but yeah, big-time athlete is Billy Richmond out of Camden High School in New Jersey. Originally a Kentucky commit, followed Cal to Arkansas.
DJ Edgecombe, Richmond trying to run it down, but Edgecombe soaring through the air for 2 more.
You see why he's a projected lottery pick.
Back and forth we go in Dallas. Baylor up by 6. Brazil, and an offensive foul. He was called for the push-off with that offhand.
Yeah, Brazil got frustrated. That's an easy call. Look at this play by Edgecombe, though. He takes off outside the lane and just soars. He's a projected lottery pick, two-time Gatorade National Player of the Year out of Long Island Lutheran. Explosive guy that just touches all areas of the stat sheet, and even those stats that don't show up, this guy excels in a lot of them.
He's about to put Bimini, Bahamas on the map. as a new travel destination. There's Roach, and nobody stops his drive.
That is too easy. Arkansas's defense. I said they haven't given up more than 69 all year, and Baylor's already right at the 40-point mark in this game.
Wagner with the high runner. Knocks the freshman with the rebound, but he traveled with it. Turnover.
I like the drive by Wagner, though, John, because he drove the catch. There was no hesitation. When the ball was coming towards him, he was already going downhill. And you've got to continue to do that if you're Arkansas against that zone. Great
Now, Arkansas wants to play this game fast, and with a limited bench, Baylor wants to slow things down. There is Edgecombe, short, and a tough board by O'Meara, but he is called for a foul as he pushed in the back. Coming up at the half, we'll have our guys in studio. Kevin Connor, Seth Greenberg, Jay Williams breaking down and talking about the early season players to watch, as this is wrapping up our first week of college hoops here across the country.
And I'm really impressed by this year's freshman class. I talked about them earlier, but these are guys that have caught my eye. Cooper Flagg and Con Kneppel, you saw him at Duke. Igor Demon from BYU. Right now, to me, he's the best prospect we have in college basketball. The kid for BYU at 6'9". He is special. Ace Bailey is 6'6" point guard at Rutgers. Dylan Harper. Bailey's 6'10", Dylan Harper, 6'6" point guard. A lot of NBA scouts going through Rutgers. There were 70 NBA scouts at the BYU game, I believe, last night watching that kid play.
There's a lot of young talent across college basketball this season. And we've got some talent on the floor here tonight. Avicic with the pass out to Knox, adjusting midair. But Edgecombe trying to push the pace for Baylor. Throwing it up off the mark. Under a minute to play in this first half. Knox up top, and Brazil throws it down.
Very good job by Brazil to get out in front of the play as a 6'10" kid to run like a guard and be there, because that ball was advanced in about 3 seconds, and Brazil was at the rim ready for it.
Both Baylor and Arkansas fans on their feet here in Dallas for the closing seconds in this first half.
You don't want to foul. Baylor in the bonus.
Arkansas has never led tonight. As Roach looks at the shot clock, it's at 1, and a facial. A 3 for Jeremy Roach. 1 second, Wagner. And cannot beat the buzzer. His shot off the mark. Arkansas came back in the game, but Baylor ending the half on a run with a 42-33 lead into the locker room. After a quick commercial break, we will head into the studio to check in with our guys as the Baylor Bears looking to get their first win of the season with a halftime lead, 42-33 over Arkansas. John Triffin here in Dallas, where Arkansas has a big footprint, but it's the Baylor Bears who have a first half 42-33 lead over the Razorbacks. You know, a lot of adjustments will need to be made for Arkansas on the offensive end. Jimmy, it'll be interesting to see these first few minutes of the second half to see how it plays out.
I've heard John Calipari say it multiple times over the years to his shooters. You don't have to make them all, but you can't miss them all. And Arkansas is 2 out of 12 from the three-point line, 25% from the three-point line on the year, and that number has dropped in this first half. Arkansas can't settle for jump shots against the zone, but they're going to have to make a handful if they're going to fight their way back in this game.
And you see Baylor 42 points tonight against the Zags. They only had 30 in the first half. Of those 42 points for Baylor, it's either coming from deep or in the paint. They have no mid-range points tonight. You see where their emphasis is. They've nailed 3 threes, 26 points in the paint, and 7 more points from the free throw line. Baylor started off in this second half with the rock. As Jeremy Roach will run the point. Roach told us, he said it was a blessing, that blowout loss against the Zags. Showed us where we are and how we need to improve as Edgecombe hangs in the air long enough to get the foul.
Edgecombe struggled mightily in his first game against Gonzaga. I think he's 2 out of 11, only 4 points. But he has gotten back to being who he was at the high school level. A driver on the catch, no hesitation, a big, long first step, right or left. And he has gotten inside that Arkansas defense time and time again.
Missing that first free throw from the line.
He played a lot this year for the Bahamian Olympic qualifying national team and has had a lot of experience. And like I said, he's not a great shooter. That's not his strength. He can shoot it just well enough, but he does so many other things that you love.
Fouls have not really been an issue in that first half, but Norchad O'Meara for Baylor is on the floor playing with 3 fouls right now. There he is guarding the ball.
Boom.
Getting a hand on it is Jaden Nunn, as Arkansas will have 9 seconds on the shot clock to work.
You know what? It's okay to ball fake against the zone as well. Big Z caught it with no ball fake. With his eyes, told everyone in the arena where he was going with it. And lucky it doesn't get stripped and ripped to the other end.
Thero bodied by Roach, the fadeaway jumper, and it goes. Adu Thero with a tough 2.
Single-handedly, Thero is keeping Arkansas in this game. Just created something out of nothing on a short clock.
He leads the way for the Razorbacks with 12 points right now. Edgecombe with the head fake. Here's O'Meara stepping out. As Flan clears the glass. Thero. He is the offense tonight for the Razorbacks. He's got 15.
He is the one guy that has stepped up in this game for Arkansas. Now he's going to have to drag a couple of more guys with him. Good job to reverse the ball in conversion offense by Arkansas to find an open shooter on the backside.
And just like that, it is a 4-point game as Flan puts his hand up and he says, wait, who, me? I thought I was the guy who got bumped on that screen.
Yeah, watch Thero run opposite the ball, but this is that late clock shot where he drove it and just made something out of nothing. And there, Flan, very good feel for a true freshman point guard, finding guys off the field as much with his eyes.
And a moving screen called against Josh Ojanwana.
You look at Ojanwa, the starting center for Baylor this year, only played 15 minutes a game last year, a 5-point, 3-rebound guy. I think Baylor was overvalued in that preseason poll, being ranked inside the top 10. One returning starter off a team that got knocked out in the NCAA tournament in the second round. Can they be a top 10 team down the road? Absolutely. I don't think they should have been there to start with.
How important are rankings really this early in the season?
They do not matter at all. None.
John L. Davis will step into one. As Thero picks off the pass. Thero! Oh, my! They called a foul as he was met at the rim by VJ Edgecombe. My goodness.
A massive amount of athleticism from both Thero and Edgecombe. Edgecombe rotates over as the weak side defender. My goodness. The rim protection by Thero and Edgecombe in this game has been spectacular. Edgecombe, John, his eyes are above the rim.
Now the concern is that Edgecombe wants to take himself out of the game as he appears to be shaken up. That was just pure athleticism. as Edgecombe will hobble now to the bench for Baylor.
Some guys are described as a freak athlete, and they're not. He is a freak athlete. And that is some concern right now for Scott Drew.
Wagner thought about it on the deck. His runner too strong. Avicic can't follow. And a big rebound by Omir.
Avicic at 7'2" had plenty of time to come down and gather himself. Why rush it? You're the tallest guy on the floor by 7 or 8 inches.
Omir now wants to post him up. Kick out, 3-ball. Omir with position, the offensive putback.
Omir just whipped the big Z. Omir fanned the ball to the weak side, then fought to get inside position as an offensive rebounder.
5-point lead for Baylor. Fland, he will launch from deep, and he rattles into 3. As Arkansas starting to put it in from deep now. Pick and roll, right, kick out. Celestine left it short.
Arkansas has been good in transition in this game so far.
Wagner with his back to the basket, and he finds a way to put it in.
Just scoring before Baylor's defense can really get organized, and you look up, it's a tie game. Arkansas, so far in the second half, much more aggressive. The passing has been cleaner. They're getting defense into offense. And Wu Pig breaks out in the American Airlines Center. A big-time 3 by Boogie Fland, and then Wagner just wins his one-on-one matchup. Big-time game in Dallas. Not sure you'll see a more explosive play defensively than what we saw from B.J. Edgecombe right there. Just went and got it. Those rim collisions in college basketball, you've got to win more than you lose. And it looked like Edgecombe, for a while, was not going to be available. I mean, he went to the locker room briefly, at least down the tunnel. But good news for Baylor, he's back on the floor right now. He is a explosive dude, man, on both ends of the floor.
He didn't just go up and get that. He punched that thing. And it's good to see that he is back on the floor for Baylor.
And Johnny did it to Arkansas's most explosive guy. I mean, Thero is a physical 6'7" explosive athlete, and Edgecombe just came over and met it all up top. Big 12 start off with 5 teams in the top 10 in the AP preseason poll, which doesn't matter. The SEC with 9 teams in that AP top 25 preseason poll. The Big 12 and the SEC again this year will dominate the number of bids on Selection Sunday.
Nunn left alone, top of the key, and he nails the 3 as Avicic throws his hands up.
When you say Nunn left alone, that's on Arkansas. The guy's a 42% three-point shooter.
Avicic said, it's my time. Spin, lefty hook, missing everything, and Nunn coming away. Doesn't use the screen, now doubled. Splits the D. And Wright will settle down the offense, calling for the high ball screen. Edgecombe, he looks pretty good to me. I'd say he's ready to get back on the floor.
John, he shoots it just good enough that you have to honest guard him. And when you do, now the game's in his hands with his shot fake and the explosiveness that he had. This kid is special.
Baylor with 2 threes to open up a 6-point lead. Edgecombe. You've got to know where he is on the floor at all times defensively.
So Arkansas closes the gap, and Baylor has the answer. What is it? None up top. Arkansas, Tardy relocating to a shooter. And a couple of possessions later, Edgecombe, high-flying athlete with a sweet stroke. Baylor now up 6.
The 14th annual State Farm Champions Classic is Tuesday in Atlanta this year. Number 1 Kansas takes on Michigan State in our first game at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. Then we'll have the exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff top 25 rankings. After that, heralded freshman Cooper Flagg and number 7 Duke square off against number 23 Kentucky. Always a great night every year.
Hey, talking about Kansas, I want to congratulate Bill Self. He tied Fog Allen last night for the all-time wins at Kansas. And he and I were on the same staff together at Oklahoma State for a year. I knew back then, like, he just had a knack, man, with his guys, how he communicated. We saw him in Fayetteville. But, man, a big-time salute to Bill Self for what he's done at Kansas. They are 155-6 in non-conference games at Fog Allen under Bill Self. Think about that. They ain't losing in that building.
One of the toughest places to play in the country. Right now, Jaden Nunn has been taken over, hit his 4-3 as Theo rings out. Nunn has had the hot hand right now as he gives it up to the point guard right. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Edgecombe. Boogie Flan sees a one-on-one matchup, but he can't get the jumper to go.
Not what you want in conversion offense, to dribble into a tough, long two.
When you look at this Baylor team, they go really about 7 deep, because they're still without Langston Love. Inside, tough finish by Norchad Omier.
What a horse is Norchad Omier. That's another reason why I think you're seeing all zone tonight out of Baylor. Short bench, they're switching 1 through 5 at Gonzaga. Did not work. It's not ready to win hard games yet. And Scott Drew on money, on point with his defense so far tonight in this game.
Langston Love was a game-time decision today. They say with that ankle injury that he suffered last season against Texas Tech, he's really about day-to-day right now, and they're hoping to have him back at any moment now.
Big loss. Another, what, 42% career three-point guy, 6'5".
Just too much strength inside by Norchad Omier.
John, he's winning the fight before he ever catches the ball. I mean, he's posting up not on the lane line. He's posting up at the restricted arc. And Baylor with a huge three from the corner, and Norchad Omier just a workhorse at 6'7". He gets lower than taller post players, and then again he's just a bully driver in a legal way. Hard to guard.
He's the NCAA active leader in career double-doubles with 68, working on another one tonight, as he's got 10 points and 8 rebounds.
You know, Scott Drew, when he won the national title in 2021, 24 hours later, I was on the phone with him. I pulled into my neighborhood, and I told him I was driving to see our next-door neighbor at the time was battling breast cancer, and I said, she's a big Baylor fan. He said, hold on, what? And I told him, he said, go ring the doorbell, and let's see if she'll answer the door. This was less than 24 hours after cutting down the nets. Got her on the phone with him, and he talked with her for 5 or 6 minutes, prayed with her. It just, the heart, I know the heart of Scott Drew, and I know the heart of John Calipari that they have for people. I think is a really big deal when I see these two guys on the floor tonight.
White with the pump fake, stays under control to nail that mid-range.
The third-ranked point guard in the 2024 class, but behind Harper at Rutgers and Boogie Flan at Arkansas.
Jump stop, and DJ Wagner gets the runner to go.
Johnny, again, drive the catch. No hesitation by Wagner. Almost in motion before the ball ever got to his paws. He's going downhill.
Well, this was something Arkansas emphasized in practice after their first game of the season, as Coach Cal felt like the defense was way ahead of their offense. Guys weren't passing enough. Celestine, and he gets in on the action.
Just a lack of awareness by Arkansas, understanding that what is Celestine's on the floor for. He catches a clean look. The airspace isn't taken away. He makes Arkansas pay because of it.
He's the Cal transfer who missed all of the 22-23 season with a knee injury. They're hoping he is healthy again as he's called with a push.
DJ Wagner, in the big moments, will impact games with his ability to get into the paint. Here's what I'm talking about with Celestine. He's a known three-point shooter. Way too much space. The rise, release, rotation is the result.
Well, it is certainly a family affair when it comes to playing for Coach Calipari. There are 5 sets of players whose dad or brother played for Coach Cal at one of his stops before. Adu Thero, his father played for Coach Cal when he was the head coach of Memphis. Antonio Burks also played at Memphis, the father of Aiden Kelly. Billy Richmond Jr. played for Coach Cal at Memphis as well, the father of Billy Richmond III. And DJ Wagner, his father DeJuan Wagner, played for Coach Cal at Memphis. And it just shows you, a credit to Coach Cal, when it's passed on to generation, what it meant to the fathers or brothers, as Carter Knox, his brother Kevin, played for Coach Cal when he was at Kentucky. To want to send your son or your brother back to play for Coach Cal here at Arkansas.
Cal is a relationship guy at his core, and he does a phenomenal job of staying in touch with all of his former players from UMass to Memphis to Kentucky. He'll do the same thing at Arkansas.
Knox had it halfway in as Brazil will clean it up for the tip-in.
Arkansas's got to get on that offensive glass. I think that's only their 9th offensive rebound of the game against a zone. They've got to be in double figures. Probably a little sooner than they have been so far.
Arkansas started this half on an 11-2 run. Baylor answered with now a 17-8 run.
It's offensive.
An offensive foul called against Baylor.
John, Cal's best teams, his national championship teams, his Final Four teams, were juggernauts on the defensive end. Led the country in shot blocks, but they absolutely got after people. His last 4 or 5 years at Kentucky, they fell off on the defensive side of the ball. He's back to coaching defense with an edge. He did it today at his shoot-around, demanding his team to hang in games when the offense isn't clean.
Jonas Adu goes outside to Brazil on the deck. As the second unit for Arkansas. Working with the shot clock winding down. Brazil, his 3 off the mark. And Adu fighting for the board will keep it alive. It'll stay with Arkansas. The way the zone has worked defensively for Baylor, is that a theme we will see when teams play Arkansas this season?
It could. I mean, until Arkansas proves they can beat you from the 3, they're shooting 23% in this game. 25% on the year through their 2 exhibitions and their opener. I said in the first half, the game is hard when you can't make shots.
That pass. And it's stolen away by Edgecombe. Good transition D by Arkansas as Baylor sets up their offense. Hesitation, Nunn with a blow-by. And no whistle on the contact.
Arkansas's got numbers. Can they take advantage of it?
Wagner had it stripped away by Nunn, and it's off of Wagner. Baylor ball.
Just good hustle and effort by Nunn, who was behind the play the entire time. John never gave up on it. Sprinter speed to come in and get the tap from behind and the turnover.
Full court press here by the Razorbacks. Trying to get back in this one, down by 9.
And a monster game coming up after us. Auburn and Houston.
Celestine just hit one. And an offensive rebound by O'Meara. And Brazil on the bump. No shot, it was on the floor.
Good, hard, violent cut, though, by Celestine to bail out, because Arkansas had that ball at a disadvantage on that baseline. So Celestine read it well. hard cut, which Baylor did not cut hard against Gonzaga. They've also improved in that area. There's what I'm talking about, just a back cut on Brazil, who forces the foul on 4 in red.
So Brazil will get a breather with his 3rd foul, as Thero will come back into the game for Arkansas.
Chad O'Meara has played a ton of minutes with 3 fouls. He picked up his 3rd in the first half and continues to play well with discipline.
Roach, step back 3. Here comes Boogie Flan trying to push the pace for Arkansas. Man on the ground. John L. Davis, and he will get the whistle and get to the free throw line.
Cal has had some success with Thero and Nelly Davis operating along that baseline. It takes me back to my thoughts of the triplets at Arkansas. Ron Brewer, Marvin Delph, and Sidney Moncrief under Eddie Sutton would use those big guards to operate out of the short corner, and Cal has got some good stuff out of it tonight. Just not enough.
John L. Davis, the transfer from Florida Atlantic, had that spectacular run all the way to the Final Four in 2023. I said, what's the biggest difference you notice making the jump into the SEC, playing at Arkansas now? And he said, it's the facilities. We have our own practice facility. We have our own weight room. We have our own weight room workout coach. He said, I can get my own customizable plan. And he said, I have all the tools I need to be successful to get to the next level here at Arkansas.
John, there's no question. He's a natural scorer that can carry you in stretches. And it would behoove him and his team for him to stay involved offensively right now. Talking to Cal back in the summer about Nelly Davis, he said, from day one, he's a very curious learner. He wants to get better. He studies film. He asks good questions. I said in the first half, Bill Self said himself, we won't face 3 better guards all year than what Arkansas has with Wagner, Fland, and Nelly Davis. That's a big statement from Bill Self.
That was Davis with the poke away from behind. So it'll stay with Baylor. 25 seconds on the shot clock. Right back in the game, he will inbound underneath. Celestine off the double screen. That was blocked by Brazil. Brazil broke out before they had the ball and rocking the rim as Josh Ojanwuna.
Well, it's a big play because if Arkansas comes up with it, Brazil was leaking out. They don't secure the loose ball, and Ojanwuna, a 9-point lead for Baylor.
Davis with a man on his hip, and Davis appears to be shaken up as he goes down.
Loose balls are so important. Those 50-50 balls, you got to win 75% of them. Baylor won one, and Ojanwuna with a finish. Ojanwuna, right? Ojanwuna.
In the preseason, Arkansas's Nelly Davis suffered a wrist injury that sidelined him for a few weeks and affected his shooting to start this season. And we take a look at that last play, Jimmy. It looked like after the foul, he went down, and it looked like he grabbed his wrist after coming down to the floor.
Yeah, he did, and he's back on the floor for Arkansas, coming out of that timeout. Man, those wrists, once they're injured like that, it's kind of a nagging injury because you're constantly getting them hit in contact plays, falling on them. Good to see number 1 in red back on the floor for the Hogs.
Arkansas tied the game at 44. Since then, it was Baylor with another run, 19-10 outscoring Arkansas to open up this 9-point lead. But he looks healthy there as John L. Davis with the runner.
John, that has to continue for Arkansas. It may be too late, but you've got to flash from behind the zone to the middle with a playmaker like Nelly Davis, who's big enough to be a pretty good target inside that zone.
On the block. And Thero tried to rip it away. It's off Arkansas.
The game coming up after us, Auburn, Houston. Bruce Pearl will say no one ever plays harder than us. Kelvin Sampson will tell you, no team ever plays harder than us. That will be a battle of wills as much as anything.
Flan fighting over the screen, and he will draw the offensive foul.
The ball screen defense has been better in this half for Arkansas. Much more aggressive, much more in concert with the guy on the ball and the ball screener communicating. Are we forcing weak? What are we doing? Good job by Flan to get back into play, and right there, that left arm gets raised up on Jaden Nunn. It's an easy call to make.
Under 7 minutes to play, as Arkansas has never led in this game. Thiero, mid-range jumper, and it goes.
You see how he played through contact, though. Did not get knocked off his path. Did not get knocked off of his rhythm. And Arkansas now only down 5.
Thiero with 20 points on the game to lead the way for the Razorbacks. Scott Drew, in his 22nd season as the head coach, wants a timeout for Baylor. We're going to take a quick timeout with them. We'll be back in 30 seconds here in Dallas. Here's tomorrow's women's college basketball lineup. At 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, we got Gonzaga and Stanford square off at Maples Pavilion on ESPN2. On ESPN, we have number 9 NC State taking on number 1 South Carolina in the first game of the Alley tip-off in Charlotte, with the second game between Virginia Tech and Iowa at ESPN2. All 3 games are available on the ESPN app.
The women's game took such a massive, massive step last year in ratings and eyes on that game. It continues to get better in play in all areas. Talked about it in the first half. South Carolina will be stressed and tested this year, unlike they were last year when they rattled off 38-0.
How about the women's game opening international in Paris this season? Roach missing everything. And here goes Thiero. One-on-one. Look out! Adu Thiero. And now he's going to grab at his calf as he tried to make it up the floor.
And John, Norchad Omier with 4 fouls just had to let him go. That 2 points is not near as important as Omier staying on the floor. And you grab a calf like that and the trainer lifts up your foot. That's actually good news for Arkansas. That's a pretty certain sign of a cramp.
Let's see how it happened for Adu Thiero after that monster jam.
Most guys never play hard enough to get a cramp.
Well, the good news is that he will walk off on his own power. A full court press here by Arkansas. 6 minutes to play in Dallas.
And this building feels good right now, huh? The game in the first week of college basketball split right down the middle between Baylor and Arkansas fans.
Arkansas, they are blitzing everything right now. Corner pocket off the mark as Flan rips it down.
Nice gang rebound by Arkansas.
This crowd waiting to erupt off the mark. Celestine with a rebound. Baylor fans trying to keep the Bears ahead here as Roach turns the corner and puts it in as Brazil was closing in.
Tremendous drive by Roach because the corner was naked. There's no help defense coming off the corner. And Wagner opens up his hips and Roach says, "Thank you very much." That corner is empty. That's a naked corner for Roach to work off of. Strong, high, tough finish by Roach.
Roach told us how he wants to get guys involved, but when you're that good of an offensive player and they give you a lane, you got to take it.
No doubt. I have been impressed with Baylor in their zone. I can't think of a time tonight in their zone defense where they've had 2 guys on the ball. They're talking really well. They're disciplined. It's early in the season. But to execute defensively like they've done in this amoeba zone, as Scott Drew will tell you, very impressive. This looks like a
Flan splits the D, can't finish off the window, and another rebound for Omier.
I'm not so sure that wasn't switching man-to-man. And you can do that. You play zone the entire game and then line up in your zone, but now you're switching everything, and you can still keep Arkansas a little stagnant.
Roach with the kick out. He finds none in the corner. Offensive rebound, no good. Avicic cleans the glass. 1-on-3. Nelly Davis is called for the offensive foul.
That is the right call. A very good job by Jeremy Roach to sprint back and get in legal guarding position. And Davis doesn't read the floor, takes it for granted, lowers the shoulder. And that's a big call with 4:32 to go.
So for Davis, he picks up his third. A Baylor 5-point lead. Omier comes down the middle, and there's no help D.
Got Arkansas put 2 on the ball, 25 feet away from the basket. And then no one rotates over to take away the roll guy. Major breakdown by Arkansas on that possession.
Omier with another double-double. He's got 13 points to go along with 10 rebounds. And he's been playing most of this half with 4 fouls as Arkansas will call a timeout. How about this Baylor Bears team bouncing back after a tough loss? They're up by 7 with under 4 to play.
John Baylor up 7. They had the 7-point lead. The last possession, Arkansas, they put 2 on the ball with their ball screen defense right here. Boom. 2 guys on the ball. So now when it gets reversed, Boogie Flan, the defender at the top of the screen, is in a real bind because he's guarding Jaden Nunn, who is a terrific shooter on the opposite side of the floor. Once that ball got reversed and Arkansas put 2 on the ball, now it's a number situation. They're trying to cover 2 guys with 1. Quick ball reversal. Omier reads it, drives right to the rim. Is a very important basket for Baylor, trying to hold off this Arkansas push.
Arkansas has been scoreless in over 2 minutes. As Adu Thero puts an end to that.
Single-handedly, Thero with 24 points, keeping Arkansas in this game.
Baylor's lead once again cut down to 5.
Talked to Scott Drew earlier this week. He said, I'm just telling you, after a 30-point beatdown, I've had my team's full attention all week. We knew Baylor was going to have a massive effort tonight. They were embarrassed by Gonzaga. And this is a team that has won the national championship in 2021. A lot of pride in this green and gold.
He said it's one thing to talk about it, but to actually get punched in the face, now how do we respond?
And feel that punch.
Nelly spinning, gets his own miss, and there is the late whistle. As you see the D by Norchad Omier playing with 4 fouls, he cannot contest any more shots.
Nelly Davis is a big physical guard. Instead of operating out of the short corner this time, Cal flashes him to that mid-block area. The catch in the immediate spin move gets number 1 to that free throw line.
Davis, as a graduate senior, said, I take a pride in my role as one of the leaders on this team with so many young players. He said, we have to do things off the court in order to build the camaraderie. They'll go play video games, they'll go out to eat, and he said, I have to focus on that because that stuff does show up on the floor.
Arkansas with only 5 fouls. They have 1 to give. I would not give anything easy at the rim if I'm Arkansas.
Baylor's been able to play at their own pace for most of this game. Inside they go to O'Meara, double teamed, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Baylor's playing man-to-man now. I've seen a handful of possessions this half of their switching man, but they're good at disguising it like their zone to begin with.
Rims out for Boogie Flam. Another rebound for O'Meara. That is his 11th of the game.
This feels like a must-stop possession for Arkansas.
Under 2 minutes to play here in Dallas. With all the quickness, puts on the brakes.
Don't foul now.
2 seconds. Edgecombe as DJ Wagner pulls it away.
Strong two-hand rebound by Wagner.
Nelly Davis, corner pocket.
Nelly Davis now 0 for 5 from the three-point line. And he's had 5 probably wide open good looks.
Baylor content with running the clock with 1 minute to play. Edgecombe, and he is fouled going up as O'Meara cleared the lane underneath for him.
Scott Drew's got multiple handlers with Roach, Edgecombe, none can handle it. Trying to close out a game, spread the floor. O'Meara does a good job of sealing and creating a driving lane for Edgecombe to get downhill off of.
Arkansas calling it a timeout. We will take it with them. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Welcome back inside the American Airlines Center alongside Jimmy Dykes, John Triffin. A major big-time matchup in this first week of the college basketball season. And Jimmy, this has been a good one.
Got two high-level teams, you know, out of power conferences, the SEC and the Big 12. They're going to dominate, I think, that March Madness bracket. Both leagues are capable of putting 10, maybe even 11 teams in. And that matchup comes through Auburn and Houston will be it's hard to kill the will of both of those programs. And Janai Broome is set to have an All-American type season. L.J. Cryer, the former Baylor guard, is the leading scorer for Houston, who has bought into the DNA and all those descriptive words I had about Houston's defense in the first half. That is a big boy game waiting to happen here.
So the last foul before we went to break was not going up. It was called on the floor. 9 on the shot clock. Extra passes to Roach from the wing, and Edgecombe out leaping everybody for the offensive rebound.
Arkansas doesn't hit first. They don't get body on body, and a loose ball rebound that was there for the taking. And Edgecombe, to your point, just sails above everyone to come down with it.
Baylor told us that this game would be different. What did you see differently from this game versus that loss against the Zags?
Well, first of all, their zone defense was so much more effective. And they were organized. They didn't put 2 on the ball. Their 1 through 5 switching at Gonzaga was a travesty when you go back and watch the game film. They had nothing figured out. And Scott Drew knows sometimes you just got to say, what can win us this game? Arkansas comes in shooting 25%. The strength of their team is downhill drives. He goes zone to kind of choke that stuff off. And just the massive amount of effort and fight that Baylor came with tonight, you knew it was coming. You get knocked around like they did at Gonzaga, Baylor couldn't wait to get back on the floor tonight.
Arkansas's got to go here. Boogie Flam with a hand in his face, nothing but nylon. It is not over just yet.
Remember,
a 3-point game now.
Remember I said about Boogie Flam, he's not a high percentage three-point shooter. I think he came in around 24%. But he has the knack and the confidence and the toughness to make big-time shots at big-time parts of the game. That's what winning guards do. And if I describe Boogie Flan, he's a fierce competitor that also knows how to win, and that shot has given Arkansas life in this game.
Boogie Flan, that's his third 3 of the night. He's up to 17 points for Arkansas. As you see, coming up next, number 4 Houston taking on number 11 Auburn, as we will stay in Texas for that matchup, the game at Houston.
Yeah, a little bit and then more of a massive distraction yesterday for Auburn. News broke that they had a fight break out on their team charter on the way to Houston and had to divert back to Auburn, and Ja'Kai Howard and Jaheim Hudson were then taken off the plane, and Bruce Pearl took his guys with him. So if you're Auburn, you got to put that distraction behind you, because all the fights that you can muster up, you're going to need tonight. But certainly not the best news for Auburn yesterday evening when that news broke.
Let's talk end game strategy here with 22.8 seconds. If you're Arkansas coming out of this huddle, obviously you're looking for the steal. What's the strategy on this press here?
You got to come with hot pressure, and you got 23 seconds to work with right now. But you certainly have the first 8 or 9 seconds to try to create a turnover. You don't have to just foul automatically right now. You've got athletes on the floor. You're face guarding at a couple of positions. Expect Flan to get involved with an immediate trap. Go get him. Yes, sir.
They're looking for the trap, but Baylor has plenty of ball handlers on the floor. And they will foul Edgecombe.
John, that's textbook, though, execution by Arkansas. Allow yourself to have 1 hard trap, maybe 2. Once it gets reversed and the ball starts going towards the timeline, you got to come with a harm. And now you put Baylor on that free throw stripe. Jaden Roach trying to close this thing, or Edgecombe, I'm sorry. Edgecombe trying to close it out. Big moment for a true freshman in a big game right here.
Edgecombe 2 of 4 from the line tonight, and he knocks the first.
Winners win. Competitors compete. Guys like Edgecombe as a true freshman, they want to be the guy fouled to try to close out a game. Unafraid.
Think about that loose ball rebound he got towards the end of this game, skying. And he knocks them both down. 5-point game, 10 seconds to play. Skip pass. Davis looking for some help. Hero no good. 2 seconds, 1 second, and he won't get it off. It's the Baylor Bears picking up their first win of the season, 72-67 over Arkansas here in Dallas.
Man, so impressed with Baylor rebounding from getting boat raced by Gonzaga. And Gonzaga is national championship good this year. But for Scott Drew to gather his guys, convince them that the zone is the best thing for us to do tonight to win this game. Scott Drew's played that zone for years, the amoeba zone. It bothered Arkansas early. This is a big win for Baylor. I really think Arkansas is going to be in that NCAA tournament. Both teams will learn from tonight, but a big-time salute to Scott Drew to regather his guys after getting knocked around. Cal will learn from this experience. I applaud both of them for scheduling what should be a neutral floor game in Dallas, and it was tonight. Big-time game leading into a massively big-time game. Houston and Auburn coming up next.
Jeremy Roach, the Duke transfer, told us he never played zone when he was at Duke. Yeah. But he's got another tool in his toolbox now with the transfer here to Baylor as they pick up the 72-67 win. For my partner, Jimmy Dykes, I'm John Schriffen. Thanks for joining us here for this top 16 matchup here in Dallas.